Hello everyone and welcome back to the Great Book of Grudges. My name is Nathan and today we're going to talk about Kislev. You see, in Creative Assembly's end of year message, they did say that they are planning on doing a big update to Kislev and some small improvements for Zinj Grind Cafe. I imagine that might not be too long from now, just to kind of fix up the problems with Kislev, and I've got some expectations. Obviously they don't have to be just like this, but my idea is just kind of throwing out some ideas. Maybe if Creative Assembly are looking for ideas, people do that, you know. And I've actually been on a big Kislev kick lately. I don't know why, but everyone in the club has been asking lore questions about Kislev, which is just really weird. So let's take some time now and talk about on how Kislev can be improved, if not just kind of reworked ever so slightly. We'll start off with the characters, and we're just going to talk about Mother Ostankia very quickly. I don't think she needs any changes, barring maybe some sort of dilemma to go back to Kislev. A lot of people don't like her starting position, which I get. I've kind of grown into it, to be honest. But it would be nice to have another magical forest, maybe in northern Kislev. If they can fit it in, it's very awkward there, because it's so scrunched up if you compare it to, say, the Kislev of the Realm of Chaos map, which is slightly larger. But I think just something that minor would make people appreciate it more if you had like one turn to be able to teleport back or whatever, and there you go. It would change up her campaign a little bit because you'd be able to get all the Kislevite stuff a little bit earlier, and not only that, it's a lore-friendly thing. A lot of people want that. Having teleport options is always nice. Elfarian has it. Imric has it. Why not for her, but at turn 1 rather than a bit later. So we're going to talk about Catherine next, and it's because she's a cool character. I really like her Hogwarts mechanic. I really do think that should be just unique to her, to be honest. With everyone else recruiting the Ice Lords and Heroes in the standard sense, because Catherine is, you know, the big ice caster. The only thing I would add into Catherine's campaign for a little bit more fun is maybe just taking from Alariel's Unity mechanic. You know, the whole thing on the more that you control in a specific country, or the less that it's Chaos Corrupted, the more bonuses that you will get. And the only reason I'm saying that is because Catherine doesn't ride out a lot. She's mostly inside Kislev and protecting Kislev proper, so she would be heavily incentivized to unite Kislev as fast as possible. It doesn't have to be massive, and when it comes to reusing mechanics, it's not a bad thing if it's done right, like what happened with Volkmar, for example, and recent characters, because Skulltaker's one is just pretty much a retooled version of the Oxyotl mechanic, so if they could add in the Alariel one and then just retool it ever so slightly, there you go. Alright, Kostaltin. So what I would say here is actually copy-pasting the Ice Court mechanic, right? The whole Hogwarts thing, but having it for the Patriarchs. And, I mean, it would be nice if we had a Patriarch Lord, but I very much doubt that we'll get one. But the idea here is Catherine gets the best spellcasters for the Lore of Ice and the Lore of Tempest and all that, whereas Kostaltin then gets the best Patriarchs. I mean, Church, State, right? It's what's embedded into the whole lore of them and the whole campaign system. I think that would work out really, really well. It's the same mechanic, don't get me wrong, but the idea here is it's a separate mechanic. Especially since we know that Kostaltin as a character doesn't really trust the wizards and stuff like that. So it's like, well, why is he investing all this time sending them to the Hogwarts school rather than actually boosting up his own Patriarchs? Now, something unique for him and his faction alone, I would say with the whole Blessings of the Maw, right? So pretty much what just got reworked for Omens of Destruction, but literally just for his faction. So you'd be able to use Devotion to get faction bonuses. Well, not really faction bonuses, army bonuses. And that means that you'd be able to, go out and do a bit more damage. You should be more incentivized with Kostaltin to go off and fight the Chaos factions. I feel like that's something that he does very, very well. I mean, even as an NPC faction, when you're dealing with him, he can be a problem. If you're playing as Azazel, you're going to want to take him out as fast as possible. So I think something like that would work. Obviously, the panel would be reworked and look a little bit different, but the idea would still be functionally the same. Instead of using food, you'd be using Devotion. Before we move on to Boris, I don't like the race. Honestly, I would be really happy if they flat out removed it. It's a mechanic that adds needless amounts of stress because the AI will always kind of do better, especially if you're playing in harder difficulties. And it's not because of the harder difficulty section, it's just it's not well implemented. And it wasn't implemented, it's an original inception in Troy. I don't know why they wanted to reuse this. If they could retool it and make it better, awesome. If not, I mean, nobody's going to miss this. Alright, Boris. Well, he has no mechanic. He's got a support mechanic for the race, but like I said before, honestly, I hope they just remove it. it's really a massive shame that he just has nothing. They introduced him as this secret, which, by the way, Creative Assembly leaked themselves. And, yeah, he just exists. He's there to be a very temporary roadblock. If anything, just a free trait for Archeon or Daniel or even Arbal now. But, yeah, he's there. He needs something. Maybe just a small questing system to focus on attacking Chaos factions. Doesn't have to be big. They could even do it in a very similar way to the whole Monster Hunt situation that Norska has, or more similar to that of Malachi. But yeah, something needs to be done. You don't bring back a character from the dead. Keep in mind that this character was declared dead in the lore, right? And then they brought him back, and he just does nothing. He just supports a silly mechanic. Okay, so now we're jumping into the race section, and the first thing is the technology tree. It would be nice if they just kind of redid it a little bit, obviously taking advantage of the fact that we have different sections now. We can have multi-sections, so one for troops, military, blah blah blah, and the other section for economy and all the usual buffs that you get for a faction. I would also like to see a section there which could focus on Confederation, because in Omens of Destruction they didn't really add a lot of Confederation stuff. I don't think they added anything actually, and they've been forgetting to kind of do that recently. It would be nice to be able to confederate factions that are just going to die very quickly, and again, not having to rely on that silly race mechanic. Plus, I mean, for Boris and Ostankia, or vice versa, if you want to be playing as them and confederating the other lords, or reviving them in some way, shape, or form. The Motherland system could be redone. Since I'm saying the race should be gone, they could add in more invocations, and they could add in different types of styles, maybe even how much strength you can get from it, depending on how much devotion you put into it, kind of like a tier system. I think something like that would be kind of nice. And this should only be available to the actual humans of Kislev, so Katerin, Kostaltin, and Boris, whereas Ostankia isn't really human. She's been alive for a while, so she kind of acts as like a whole spirit of the land situation, and she's got her own stuff. To be honest, her mechanics are really, really fun. Even post-nerf, like, you can have a lot of fun with her. I think everything else is fine when you look at Kislev. I mean, it's too small, and that's kind of for sure, but they're never really going to change the map, right? Like, let's be very, very honest, though. I think that, yeah, combat-wise, they perform very, very well. Building-wise, construction has been changed, obviously, over time. So you do get those, like, minor, major settlement things. I really just want to see some changes coming into the characters, make them feel a little bit more unique, because right now, if you're playing Kostaltin, then there's no reason for you to play Katerin, and there's no reason for you to play Boris, I'd say. Once you get that coming in, everyone feels pretty different. Maybe some other changes could come into effect, and you guys will probably have some better ideas there. But I feel like Kislev is in a decent spot. They just need to start updating certain things just to bring a little bit of life to it. It's a good thing that they've had some updates over the years, and I don't think too much is going to need to happen there. If CA wanted to be really, really cool, they would add some sort of Patriarch Lord, and that way you've got access to, you know, the Boyar, the Druzina, the Spellcaster Lord, and then like a Warrior Priest Lord. They could do it for free, or they could attach it to the actual DLC. You know, it's going to be split up now. It's going to make Kislev a lot better in terms of value. And I know it would require a little bit of work, but I feel like that would just kind of finish up Kislev. It would benefit Kostaltin, as we said in the past, plus a Warrior Priest isn't too bad. Sometimes people do use the Archlectors when it comes to the Empire, and they do feel quite decent. And if we wouldn't need two variants like the Ice Witches, it's just literally one with a Battle Pres that are already in game. It's just the Lord variant. If anything, they could use the same model and just change the hat, right? It's that simple. But let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Let's start a bit of a discussion. I just wanted to talk about Kislev today. Seriously, I've had nothing but questions from my local club. Oh, what's Kislev like in the point of the old world? Blah, blah, blah. And it's like, well, we don't know yet. I mean, everything that we know is that they're likely going to be using the same style as the models in Warhammer 3, which I can't wait for. I meme on the Bear Riders a lot, but as a tabletop mini, that's going to be really fun to paint, I think. I've kind of gotten used to painting white now. I've been doing a lot of Pegasus Riders, so yeah. But yeah, have a good day, guys. I'll see you all again very, very soon. I'm a bit late today, but I have been busy. I have been super, super busy. See you guys.